É, City Surf Rio 5522, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. We will have something here, something new maybe, just a little more scotch, just a little more wheat, just breaking the ice. We have two areas in Rio de Janeiro. It's the coast of sun and the green coast. And two both kind of are very close, around the central area. It's like this. Here I have the Rio de Janeiro as my capital city, Rio de Janeiro. Here I have my green coast. Here I have my sun coast. This is the general division. Here is the area that we have kind of the mountains and something like this. It's kind of the mountain area. This is the general division. We had a work at the Rio de Janeiro capital city, considering distortions, observing the body, protecting the private area, and having in mind that the public corruption can be organized and made by the corporative area because it's public and goes by the center as investment public. We will forget the mountains, at least at this time, during this, independent effort as white label project, considering everything we maybe have. And the sun coast is, this board now. At this period and at this beach office, take a look at the board, the key RM we will put there. By the way, today we have beach breaks, barrels, and it's almost 1 meter or a meter and a half, and allowed you to use your bodyboard if you have, or if you like to ride the waves. Then we will have, it's a short break today, we will have this like this. We have this area here, which is the area S, pace of life, calm, slow. The main activity here is kind of the surf and the tourism. People like to come to this place and visit the area to ride waves. It's general like this. We have near another area, which is my area A, and great winds. You have a lake, and people like to do kite surf, windsurf, and things that will fly high. Then we have another area here, which is the area B, and this area B is kind of most famous, I would say, have a social night and a lot of glamorous things, and people like the hush kind of. And of course that when we had this, we will get the division of this area here, which indeed has two main spots to ride waves, kind of the beach area number 1, or the S smaller. I put number 1 and the number 2 as the second spot, and you can go to both. In the center you have kind of the center of this small city here, which is the city S. And for this area here we had some kind of district, that's named G. This is the division of this area. There is the area A with windsurf, kite surf. You can fly high at this area. And we had an area here, kind of, which is the name PS. It's allowed you to have the access at the lake, and has a beach, but not a beach, kind of flawless to ride the waves in the way you'd like to have. First, here you can do things by your bodyboard on beach number 2. Beach number 1 is named the Maracanã of surf. Then we will check that here we have another areas connection named C, F, and all these, if we had as intelligent and stochastic process as information considering the distortions on Rio de Janeiro, capital city, when the public corruption sometimes commit the crimes and make the registry, or broke your privacy, your intimacy, commits industrial crime, got under international charge and have no words to say, because they are all wrong. The public corruption is always a crime. Can you get? Then we'll check that this kind of activity we can work with business model, corporate, only no public association, because we must avoid the criminal environment. Then we'll check that, for instance, this general thing here is something organized a bit more, and we have a scientific method named methods and organization, or organizations and methods, named OEM. And on present time, according with the development of business, integration of market, and a lot of things, consider the regulatory premise and security and stability mandatory to have business. You have the S here, and it's named OSM, Organization of System and Methods. Then we are having a step, which is the concept that we'll do. And to do this as a systemic thing, or by law, or regular, or legal, considering that sometimes the drug and pleasure will be something that you can consider amazing, but it will bring you losses and you will lose. The integrity may be, at least at your capital asset and your property, you have lost freedom and sometimes the self-determination. And you can observe this on, in many janky areas around, especially in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and others. We observe all the time that people, especially that the community, have no autonomy and independence as self-determination to bring the issue clearly with transparency, despite the Germany had this as a claim by the Ministry of Finance, but the entire Europe is unable to have this transparency. It's a phenomenon all around. Then we'll check that this kind of thing to prevent and avoid this risk as transfer of communication inside a systemic organization, which will have specific make decision process considering the Article 29 of our Constitution, which is the prevalence as the local interest, all by law, and this free activity, in the same way we did on Rio de Janeiro, despite we got ignored, and after that we offered to the NATO, to the international arena, and maybe we had attraction and a charge, by them as victims, in the same way as extended field of my privacy and intimacy. Then we'll check that maybe we must consider at the very first thing have a connection as interconnection secure. Article 1 of our Constitution, item 4, the free will to bring the development of the nation considering the local interests at this area, the Sun Coast. Then we will check that we had some providers of communication services, internet, local, and you, AT&T, American Telegraph and Telephone, can bring your expertise, do the association, maybe having corporation of one of them, not all of them, to keep the pace and stay hungry locals. Then we will have the interconnection, for instance, kick off CHS, and this interconnection will allow us to set a circuit as information that will have this as a flow, And this flow has gateways as a transference of communication to prevent the risk as the public department do this interference, steal data, steal your property as asset in the way we had on Rio de Janeiro against my research. If you do this now on present time, you committed, guess what? Maybe an industrial crime because we are doing project charge indefinite as white label considered a national development by local interests. Corporate. See? Then we will have this circuit here closed like this. Two levels of communication. The communication between the economical agents, the communication as institutional level, considering the transference by the provider named AT. But if we had this communication, of course that we must consider have at least some kind of storage as cloud with security. And then we can work with levels as cognitive and intelligence we are naming and suggesting maybe the IBM corporate only and exclusively. Then we had system to operate this thing, and we recommended the Microsoft. The standard Windows, the PowerPoint allowed you to do almost a miracle. And this entire thing we can consider a Unix system, with governance, open data to the OECD, because if the Brazil and Rio de Janeiro wouldn't like to be at that place which belongs the most relevant economies and financial centers in the globe, the Sun Coast must do this and very recommended to have this as open data. Then we will have this entire thing under maybe the cooperation as Unisys to avoid the overpriced contract as corporate area and association with public area, which put this entire thing which has a balance as model as project shutdown. We'll finish here this first presentation. I would like to invite you, international peer, investor, client they would like to claim, since not associated with public area, to come to this place as Surf City, be smooth, be calm, respect the locals, and success is consequence of success. Have a nice week.